Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, September 11th, 2018. It is the 17th anniversary of 9/11. I kind of was thinking about. I mean, you do it every year, but what was going on that when that happened? I was in college. I was sitting there. I was actually living with my dad at the time, studying at the dinner table, and I got a phone call from my mom, and she called me and told me that America's under attack. Pack your bags up and go to Canada. You're gonna get drafted. And thinking to myself, what are you talking about? And she goes, turn on the TV. I turn on the TV, and I just, I saw the smoke, and then the second plane hit. So it was surreal, and the whole day was just sort of, it was one of those days. It's just weird, you will probably never ever have a day like that in your life, and you just kind of, I can't really put into words, but you just sort of drift. I remember not going to class. I had a date that night that had to get canceled. It was Maya at the Puyallup Fair, and that didn't happen. In fact, the girl and I think we never talked after that. And then it was, and then I went down to the donation station to donate some blood because of what was going on, and the line was just massively huge. I was like, I was gonna go to work, so I was working at the hospital at the time, working night shift, and I decided that I was gonna wait in line to donate blood, but it was getting late, and the line was just way too long. I mean, a lot of people came out and did, and donated, which was awesome. You get to see the country come together for a common purpose and for the common good, which doesn't happen very often. These times that we're in these days, there's so many things that divide us, and we focus on that, and we don't focus on what makes us similar. Fact is that, we have, there's so many things that people, you can look at somebody and immediately find something that you don't like about that person, or you can look at them and, find something you have in common with them and build from that. It's building rapport. It's like if you could walk into a room and you have a Seahawk jersey on, and you look around and there's, someone with a jersey on from every team, and you could look at them and say, well, I'm a Seahawk fan, so I'm the only one here, and make yourself feel special. Or you can look around and say, look, we're all fans of football. You can find similarities in things, and then build from that. You have something in common with people. You can develop a relationship with people and develop a common ground and something to kind of break the ice with. But back in 9/11 happened, it was people didn't matter what our differences were. At least at that time, it was, even with religion, we didn't even know what was going on with the planes, and people thought it was, an accident. Someone may have accidentally, at least the first one, you thought it was just an accident, but when the second one happened, it was, nobody knew what was going on, and then you started seeing the the hatred and side of towards Islam and Muslims grow from there. There was Islamophobia, and myself, honestly, I got involved in that. I was anti-Muslim. I didn't, I was mad. I was angry. I was very conservative back then. And then that's what, that's what kind of spurred my interest in politics. It got me involved in, then I started, and then I saw they had the live feed of what it looked like in the Middle East as the towers fell and they were cheering. And it's because the Middle East, they have a very different picture. It's like, why do they hate us so much? We have the view of, why do they hate us so much? Why do people hate the Americans? And then, I would always be watching television and watching the news and seeing tanks firing, and then you see people throwing rocks, Palestinians and things like that at the Israelis. And I was always wondering why. And so I started studying Middle Eastern politics, and that's what got me into studying Arabic and Middle Eastern studies, and that's what my major was in college. So 9/11 was sort of it was a huge waking up point, I think, in regards to myself, but it was also a day when a lot of people unfortunately lost their lives, and it's what we do today. I mean, I'm not gonna make a huge video about, you got to remember, and what my life, how it affected me. It's just, it affected everybody, but I could kind of think of that moment and realize how things kind of started changing in my life. I started focusing on other stuff. I started asking questions, and I wasn't a 9/11 truther or anything like that. I was more interested in why the Middle East is the way that it is, and why do they have certain feelings and things like that. Why the CIA calls it blowback. But it just started a whole chain reaction of my interest towards a particular region of the world and understanding why things were the way they were. And it's like when you start understanding one thing and finding answers to one thing, it's like you find 2 or 3 other questions that you got to look into, and it just sort of opened a Pandora's box of interest and just sort of wanting to know more. And so that's today. Thoughts. I'm not gonna say that crap. I'm gonna say that I feel for the people that were directly affected by what happened, and hope that it never happens again anywhere. Massive loss of life in any aspect is a bad thing, So have a great day. Keep this video under 8 minutes, and I will talk to you tomorrow morning.